All right. Again, I have no idea how long this is going to take on here. Hi, Anthony. So today's agenda is I'm going to talk a bit about my first year, reflect on it. Second thing I'm going to do is give you guys a lot of resources. I think a bunch of you are applying to medical school. Hi, everyone's saying hi to me. Hello. Hi, Dana. Hi, Music Media Outlets. That's a cool username. Hi, Tasmin. Hi, Anthony. And the last thing I'm going to do is rapid fire Q&A. So all your questions, just throw them at me. We'll try to get through it. We have 15 minutes today because I have something at 8. The only reason I was able to do this is because a meeting got canceled. So high five to my classmates that canceled that meeting. So let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to reflect on my first year of medical school because I think it's important to reflect and talk about what went well and what didn't. So there's 4 main things I always think of, or 5, when I do my life, which is kind of weird to say. 1 is academics, 2 is social life, 3 is research, 4 is like extracurriculars, other things outside of that, and 5 is like overall happiness. You always want to keep those things in mind. So in terms of my first year, I'm going to rate everything out of 10. So if it's like a 10 out of 10, I think I did really well. And if it's lower than that, I think I did poorly. So the only reason I'm doing this first is because I'm actually waiting for more people to get on so we can do the Q&A at the end. But hopefully this is also a great way for you guys to see what first year of med school is like. Hi, Steven. Hi, Sean. Hi, Ramika. Ramika? Yeah, maybe I'm saying that right. Okay, so academics, I gave myself a 3 out of 10 because I did not do much academics this year. I will tell you that. I studied hard, but not nearly as much as I should have. I wish I studied a little bit more, but that's okay. No regrets. I will try to do a bit better moving forward. In terms of learning things, medical school is a whole new ballgame. I will say that. It's a lot more material. It is an infinite amount of material. People who went through undergrad, at least at my school, thinking that like undergrad was hard, this was a wake-up call for almost all of them because you go over a lot of stuff very, very fast. And so I think it took me a while to adjust because first of all, it's just a lot of stuff. And second of all, it's approaching studying it is entirely different. So maybe I'll make a video on that later on, but that was cool. Social life. I think I give myself a 9 out of 10. I came into med school saying I wanted to be more of a social person, and I actually got to make more friends because of that. So I was pretty happy. Research. So because I think research is a big part of everyone's life, if we have questions on that, I think research was something that I was able to do a lot of. So I actually gave myself a 6 out of 10 on that because I was able to do some more clinical stuff. A lot of you might be doing basic science stuff. In medical school, you can do clinical research, which is really cool. I highly recommend you check it out. Hi, Hamisha. Hi, Momna. Hi, Hira. Hi, Steven. And so that's good. And extracurriculars, I gave myself another 6 out of 10 because I was doing gym, sports. I ruptured my tendon at the beginning of the year, so that wasn't ideal. And to sum it all up, the last thing I want to say is happiness. I gave myself like a 12 out of 10. And that's something that all of y'all need to start prioritizing in your life because I know life is hard, but if you don't make sure you're doing things and surrounding yourself with people that make you feel good, it's literally not worth it. None of this is really that worth it. So hopefully that provides some insight into my first year. It was a good year. I'm happy. My goals for this upcoming year are to explore more, to study more, and to continue having try to have a balanced life and at least connect with you guys a bit more. Okay, so with all of that being said, can I also now get everyone in the comments to tell me if they're applying to medical school? Anyone? Is anyone applying to medical school? Hi, Nikita. If you are not applying to medical school, I will say right now is application season. And so that means the applications just opened up. Yale's secondary just went out like 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So I have a bunch of stuff planned for that. I will be literally putting a bunch of resources out there. But for all of you who are watching this, who are interested in medical school and who are actually going to be applying soon, I think I want to make sure you know, let's see if I have that playlist that I just commented on. You all need to know about it. So a lot of you guys started this channel, started following me recently. And I actually made a bunch of videos last year about my entire experience applying. So make sure you bookmark that playlist because there's a lot of stuff in there that can help, including like how to address the diversity question, doing secondaries, doing primaries, how much I paid for all of my medical school applications. So a lot of my stuff and my reflections about the experience are on there. And I highly recommend you watch those videos if you have any questions at all. And so that includes stuff about the MMI, that includes stuff about like what I'd wish I'd known when I was applying to medical school. So you don't even have to be applying. A lot of this stuff is actually very good background knowledge that all of you can have. And it includes how I went through my personal statement, which I honestly thought was pretty mediocre. It provides an insight into the medical school admissions timeline, which is 1 year long. It includes how to have, if you want to take a gap year, what I did in my gap year. And obviously it includes a bunch of stuff about the MCAT. So if that's helpful for you, please check out that podcast. I mean, not podcast, that playlist. Although there is a podcast I was on. That was cool. So with all of that being said, I'm now here. The next 10 minutes are literally open for all questions that you guys can contact me. Oh, how do you contact me? My email is my pjathani@berkeley.edu. Although I'm going to say that now and get a bunch of emails, which is totally fine. It's just hard for me to respond to everything. It takes me a lot to respond to everything. So that's my email. Feel free to reach out to me there. And that is that. So, I mean, I'm mostly here for questions, comments, concerns, life. We're going to be friends. Let's have a nice conversation if anyone wants to talk. Advice for first-year medical students. Congratulations on starting medical school. I will say there is a lot of stuff that medical school, one big piece of advice I will say is you're going to go into medical school and not understand anything, and that's because the learning curve is really, really steep. So be okay with that. Be okay with the fact that you're not going to know what aspiration means. Be okay with the fact that you don't know what cirrhosis means. Be okay with the fact that you have zero clue what like half the words mean, and just know that in time, all of it will make sense. A lot of people think that it's supposed to make sense right away and they get intimidated by that. And so I strongly encourage you to not get intimidated. Be okay with not knowing everything and just take your time in learning it. What was my college GPA? I'm actually pretty surprised. I think most people who have my MCAT, my AMCAS application, my GPA is on there. It was actually a 398. And so that was my GPA. It was, again, I studied a lot, and that was because I was going through imposter syndrome. I felt like I wasn't supposed to be at Berkeley. I felt like I had to work twice as hard to get just as far as everyone else, which to a certain extent was true. I was studying 4 hours a night. I kid you not. You guys can, like, actually, you guys don't know my college roommate, but I slept on my chair for most of college. That's how bad it was. I would literally like be working to the extent that I'd fall asleep on my chair, which is not mentally like good for you. But I'm much better now. But that's how hard I was working in college. So cool. Let's see. How applicable is the content of pre-med requirement classes to medical school? I think I've made a video on this. I think the video is called "How applicable is the MCAT to the How applicable is the MCAT to medical school?" And that video, I talk about it, all of it. Organic chemistry is probably the least useful, but it's still applicable. Biology is the most applicable because you will learn a lot of stuff in bio that you just do not. If you do not understand it, you're going to be screwed. So you make sure everything on the MCAT is applicable. And more importantly, the pre-med requirement classes are on the MCAT. So by virtue of proxy, most pre-med requirements are applicable. Wait, why are people not liking the video? Like and subscribe. I'm like 2 subscribers away from 5,400. I would love to get 5,400 right now. That would be awesome. You guys are the best. So Sean, hopefully that, no, not Sean. Sean. Okay, Sean has another question. Oh, 13 likes. Great. Awesome. Sean, your question is, what is your opinion on BSMD programs, and did I apply to any? I did apply to some. I got rejected, as usual. But the problem with BSMD programs that I have is I honestly think it's better for you to figure out you want to go into medicine in college. So many people think coming out of high school they want to do medicine. And trust me, that's not a decision you want to be making when you're like literally not even like, some of us don't even have responsibilities in high school. Some of us are still coming out of the phase of like, oh my God, I have to learn to be independent. And is that really the time you want to decide if like what you want to do with the rest of your life? So I'm kind of happy I got rejected. I mean, of course, if I had gotten in, I think I would have gone, but I'm happy I got rejected because I think it forces you to mature. It forces you to really think if this is what you want to do. Medicine is a long path. Like even for me right now, there's at least 7 more years, at least. And that's for like the lowest level of doctor. If you want to subspecialize, that's even more. So I don't think a high schooler by any means is mature enough to make that decision. And that's not being disrespectful to high schoolers. I just genuinely think that you should not be making that decision until you've really thought about like how crazy life is going to be. And it is very, very crazy. Dana, you're applying now. That's fantastic. I think we're on Snapchat together. So feel free to hit me up with questions. I may be pretty succinct on Snapchat. It's just hard for me to answer questions in detail over Snap because I just have very little time. But if you have any, feel free to reach out and I will try my best to address it. But I definitely think we've talked before, which is great. Shiv, I answered your question. Music media outlets. I still can't get over that username. That's awesome. How to prioritize studying MCAT during the year with full-on classes. I just don't recommend doing it. It's not feasible for me, at least. I think it's very hard for me to study for something and also still have classes. I like to give everything for classes. But if you're going to have to do it, I recommend treating studying for the MCAT like a class. So treat it like a 4 or 5 unit class, set time aside for it every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or every Tuesday, Thursday, and literally say, this is homework that I have to do for this class. Because if you don't do that, you're gonna push it off to the side, and I promise you, you will not be able to get anything done. So hopefully, does that make sense? I think I'm going a bit behind on some of these questions, but if everyone likes these answers, and if I answered your question, upvote, and of course, let me know if I didn't answer anything specifically. Any tips for getting into Yale Med? I actually have some great videos coming up. I actually have, I think, at least a 20-minute video where it's going to be great. I made it with one of my classmates. It's a really, really great video. And I think we will try to put that out sometime next week. And that literally starts from the process once you're in undergrad all the way through interviewing, and it goes through every single step of how to get into medical school, and specifically, I guess, Yale Med, because we're both here. But I will say, just because I'm here does not mean anything. Like, getting into medical school, the number one thing you need to know is that it is a lot of luck. A lot of luck. Like, a lot of luck. I do not want to understate how much luck you need to have to just get in. And that too, like I'm not going to say I got really lucky. I will say there's a certain amount of stars that need to line up for some of this stuff to work. Because, like, think about it, right? If you guys watched the last video I went live on, we have a class of 104 that was picked from an applicant pool of 4,000 people. Are you kidding me? Like, to say that I deserve to be here is like lying. It's like, there was definitely a certain amount of luck involved. There was definitely a certain amount of I had a great interview day. Some people might not have. But for Yale Med specifically, I will say they do take a lot of pride, and they will really appreciate you being genuine people. And that's, to this day, I feel so, so happy, because I can go up to any of the admissions officers and we have talks on end, and they just love talking to me, and I love talking to them. And it's because I've never had to hide anything from them. And I can be very, very honest and straightforward about who I am as a person. And I know they don't treat me differently because of that. Tips about how to ask for letters of rec. You ask for the letter of rec when you feel comfortable with the professor, and you say, first of all, you say, I want a good letter of recommendation for you. Don't just ask for a letter of rec. Say, I want a good letter of recommendation. It's like a relationship, right? Like, if you're in a relationship, you have to be honest and truthful about where you want it to go, or else it's just confusing for everyone. So in this case, be like, hello, professor. I would like a letter of recommendation for you. I feel like we know each other well. I feel like you can represent me in a way that will show medical schools I'm ready for the curriculum. And for that reason, I really, really would value a letter from you. And some questions I get about this is, would you want that letter if it's going to be early? You know what I mean? Like, if you take a class with a sophomore year professor, do you want that letter for med school? You do. You should ask them for it. Like, ideally, like, the professors you ask for letters, you should maintain longitudinal relationships with them. Like, I was texting most of the professors who were writing me letters, because that's how close you will be with some of them. But you want to have that sort of relationship with them and try to longitudinally maintain it. So yes, hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. Where are we? I literally lose track of everything. Trying to start up my own med school based blog. Hell yeah, do it. Do it and be true to yourself, honestly. And I say that not to be cheesy at all. Like, just do what you want to do, and do something that you don't think is already out there, and start it, and just do what you want to do. Don't try to do what you think people want to see, which a lot of people on YouTube are doing. They try to clickbait. They try to put stuff out there just for the views. They try to put stuff out there just because they know it's this hot right now. Do what you want to do and stay true to what you're doing. And if you genuinely believe in it, other people genuinely believe in it. And I think that goes a long way. I honestly think, my channel is not the biggest channel. 5,000 people by no means is that big. But I think I feel happy because when I come here, I can just be who I am and have a community that surrounds me that is literally built on the foundations that I put into this channel. Like, the people here appreciate the genuineness. The people here appreciate some of the stuff I say. And I think that's really what I like. All right, we're getting to a point where I need more likes. Always likes. Gotta try to make sure this gets out there. So continue liking, subscribe. I want to get to 5,400, so I want to make sure that happens. Did I go on a study abroad trip? No, I've never done that. I went to India like last summer. The part of the reasons I haven't been able to study abroad is because I'm not a citizen yet, and I didn't get my green card until like third year of college because immigration is shitty. But the point is that has been one of the biggest inhibitors. Once I become a citizen, I think I'll feel a bit more comfortable. When I find the time, please send me your AMCAS app. I would love to do that, Tasneem. I'm sorry, I'm just so booked. I wish I could just spend time doing that, and I will try my best to hopefully get it out as soon as possible. But I promise you, stuff just always gets in the way. What do you think got me into Yale Medical School? I'm telling you this like 100% truth. I remember the interview clear as day. I felt myself. I felt like I could be myself. I walked into the interview room. The interviewer was a genuine person. He was like, tell me what happened. And I told him like Berkeley was crap. Like I love UC Berkeley, but I told him like it was a really hard time for me. Here's why. He's like, well, that sounds really difficult. And I was able to open up to him and tell him about all the stuff I went through. Because I think for a lot of people, it's difficult to get to that level. And I literally was just telling him my whole story. And he found that really great. And I connected with him. And I connected with my student interviewer, who I still, to this day, am really close friends with. He and I text back and forth. And I think it's just still so funny. He's like, I interviewed you. And I was like, yeah, I know. And now we're like friends. And he's an internal medicine resident now at Hopkins. So it's just amazing. And I connected with both of them to the level where I can still, like, to this day, text any of them up. My interviewer still to this day, like, will sometimes say, hey, I just interviewed someone who has questions about Yale. Well, do you want to answer them? And I was like, sure, like, refer me to them. So that, I think that genuine connection really did go a long way. Dane, did you already get an interview invite to Yale, or is that just a general interview invite? Because that's fantastic. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. That is already a great start. What medical schools are best to apply with low science GPA? Is there a list somewhere? Giselle, look into the MSAR. Medical school admissions requirements. The GPAs are all on there. That includes the science GPAs and the cumulative GPAs. So hopefully that will provide some more insight. And that's a great way to create a jot down list of what schools you might be interested in. What was my daily schedule like during first year? I can't even say. I mean, all I can say is I would wake up I think there's a video of like one of my days here. I would wake up at 8 a.m. and I would go to sleep at like midnight, and it's just jam-packed with meetings, jam-packed with research, jam-packed with me getting to know classmates, whatever. Like, it was just a lot of stuff. And it's also, you're like, the whole time you're trying to study and be a doctor. So that's kind of hard. I did enjoy it though. People say medical school is hard. It is hard, but honestly, it has been something that I would never, if you asked me if I would apply again to medical school, I would say yes in a heartbeat. And I don't know if that's a function of med school or Yale, because I really, really do like it here. I'm very happy here, but I feel happy. Okay, so a lot of you don't know my Instagram. Do you? I don't know. I always like link my Instagram because I'm using my Instagram a lot more now because I like to update you guys on other stuff that's happening. Like today, we just found out like the white coat ceremony is happening for the next year's class. And I was like, are you kidding me? It's already been a year. It's already been a year. And so feel free to follow that on Instagram. I think that's another way for you to reach out to me if you have questions, which is still difficult, but I will try my best to get to them. Cool, let's keep going. I think I'll have, I will extend this to 8:10. Okay, so let's keep going. Reply to me, say hi. Ethan, I would love to say hi to you. I'm sorry. I am also a nerd. I agree to that. Yes, I am. Let's see. I'm thinking of doing biomedical engineering as a pre-med. What are your thoughts on that? Engineering is just some next level stuff. I agree that you can be an engineer and be a pre-med. I will say it is harder to do that because engineering and pre-med requirements sometimes are mutually exclusive. At Berkeley, you had to take physics that was not pre-med physics. You had to take engineering physics, which is some next level stuff. I mean, I love physics, but I just will say like the road will be a bit more difficult. Let's see. When did you stop comparing yourself to others? I don't think I've stopped to this day. Of course, it's totally natural to compare yourself to others. Are you kidding me? I wish I didn't, but I compare myself to others like on the daily. But I think the question that you're meaning to ask is how do you stop that from influencing you? And that becomes more of a thing of just feeling comfortable in your own shoes And that again requires going through hardships. And I think like for me, I started getting comfortable in my shoes at Berkeley and realizing, yes, everyone is different. Some people will study 5 minutes, some people will study 5 hours. Doesn't matter. We're all living our lives, and as at the end of the day, if you are happy with what you're doing, there's no reason for you to change it, even if someone else is doing something different. Just like live your life. But comparing yourself to others is totally normal. It happens all the time. And sometimes it's actually even beneficial because it gives you the means to be like, I really like what they're doing and I want to incorporate that into my personality because I think it's something that has brought them far and I want to learn from them. And that's one of the biggest reasons I love my classmates. Consistently comparing myself to them, and I learn a lot from them. So how do you think the cars is in relation to the other section? Dude, don't ask me about reading. I'm so bad at reading. I'm consistently 60th percentile on reading. Cars is really hard for me. I don't know why. I can read science. I can read papers. I cannot read cars. Dude, Fortnite Master. You're live on Fortnite. That's great. I hope people watch, but I don't even know what that is really. Let's see. Have I ever dealt with low self-esteem? Do you guys not? I don't know. Do I come across as someone? I don't know. I don't know if you guys know this. The people that know me really closely know one of my weakest attributes is the fact that I have okay, it's like normal now. I did have a pretty low self-esteem in general. I will say that. So I don't know. Have I dealt with it? Yes, for most of my life, I think I have, because as I told you, I've never really seen myself as someone who could just get things right away. I've always been the one who asks a billion questions, and also never really felt comfortable in my shoes entirely. But I'm getting better at it. And I have dealt with low self-esteem, and it's to this day, I think I still get calls. Like when I tell my mom, she's like, dude, why don't you believe in yourself? And I'm like, ha, 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 ha. like it's still a thing, you know? Cool. Let's see. Oh, we're almost, okay, 3 more minutes. Let's see. Hey, Priyak, I have 1 month to go for my MCAT. How do you recommend I use my time? Practice questions. Don't worry about content, just practice questions. You got to just keep doing practice. I think the double-edged sword with standardized tests is knowing when to stop with the content and hit practice questions. If you have a month left, you should just go practice questions. It's better. That's what you're going to be tested on. So you need to just go to practice questions. Don't waste time on this like Kaplan stuff. Okay. You need to not do that. How do you get to your workout after all that studying? I find it hard to balance it. Raja, that's a good question. I actually sometimes prioritize working out over studying because working out rejuvenates me to a certain extent because I'm running. So I basically like have to, like, it literally comes down to what are you prioritizing? And for me, I was like, my health is huge. I ruptured my tendon and I want to make sure it's okay. So I'm going to prioritize gym over this test. And I think that's just how I do it. And sometimes I'd regret it. Sometimes, I mean, I don't regret it. Sometimes I'm like, okay, that wasn't the best decision, but hey, I made that conscious decision. Samira, Berkeley's the best. You should not be afraid, but you will get challenged in ways that you never thought possible, which is fine. Like you will become a stronger person because of it, but just like literally know that that's going to happen. Let's see. 2-week turnaround for secondaries. That is, it's real. You need to do it. That the problem with that is like, I didn't do it and you'll still be okay if you don't. I will say that it's just hard because schools expect the 2-week turnaround because implicitly they kind of expect you to have started pre-writing a certain amount. Let's see, Batman or Superman? Dude, I never watched comics. That's one of my regrets. I wish I had gotten into superheroes, but I think I knew about Superman before Batman. So maybe Superman. Also, Batman's like, what are you doing with bats, dude? That can kill you. Like that doesn't even make sense. At least Superman's just like genetically unnatural. Freshman going into college. Hey man, you're gonna have college is like crazy. Like college is crazy intellectually, college is crazy mentally, college is crazy physically. Everything's gonna change. Embrace everything. Like embrace the failures, embrace the fact that you might have random stuff come up, embrace everything that comes your way, and know that the moment you leave, all those experiences will line up to kind of show you like, damn, I needed that. College is not just about the academics. College is about living on your own for the first time. College is about figuring out how to do groceries. College is about realizing you locked yourself out of your room like for the 50th time and you shouldn't do that anymore. Like that's college. Those are life skills. So that's just embrace all those things, man. Those are the parts about college that I still remember. And those are like the life skills. I'm like, I remember being locked out of my room all the time. Cool. What was my second choice med school? It was my second choice. I actually would have gone there just as well. It was UCLA. The only reason I picked Yale was because of some financial stuff. So hopefully it helps. That helps. Turned out in an Ivy League because it didn't have a good pre-med. Going to state college, will that impact where you go to med school? Probably not, because hopefully the state school you go to also has the same level, to a certain extent, same resources. And if you got into an Ivy League, you're probably already relatively motivated. So you just, like, the only reason the school matters is because the school has access to opportunities that you may or may not get if you go to a state school, because as we talked about, Yale's endowment is $23 billion. That is a lot of money. If I wanted to do something, do they have money for me? Yes, they do. If I wanted to do a project, will that project be going on at Yale? Probably, because they have a lot of money. So the problem is, like, when you go to a school that doesn't have as much money, not to say it's worse, by no means is it worse. The problem is just that sometimes it can limit your opportunities. But if you're motivated, I guarantee it doesn't matter. I applied to 25 schools. I interviewed at 12, and I got into, I think, 5 or 6. Yeah, and waitlisted at a couple. Okay, so I have to go. Please like this video. I know this was really short. I'm putting out a bunch of other cool videos in the future, but I try to do lives every now and then so I can connect with all of you guys. I think you're great. I think, honestly, if any of you are ever in New Haven, please find a way to contact me. Anyone who says they're in New Haven, I actually make an effort to be like, okay, cool, what's up? Let's hang out. So do that. I would love to meet you. Like this video, subscribe. Follow me on this. I'll link the Instagram one more time because I actually do post a lot of stuff on there, and I actually think I actually feel like I connect with a lot of you through that. So please do that. I also have a Snapchat. My Snapchat's Prereq City, so feel free to follow that. And as I mentioned, where's that playlist? As I mentioned, anyone who's applying to medical school, if you haven't already, I made a bunch of videos about medical school before. Please go ahead and check those out. Those are entirely, again, not monetized. I'm not getting paid for anything. So just check those out. Enjoy, whatever. Have a good life. And I will see you next time I see you. But cool. Thanks for being cool. I hope you guys have a great day, and see you soon, guys. Maybe Sunday. We'll see. Okay. All right. Bye. You're cool.